It's what we do each and every week, folks, here on our Nebraska channel with Greg Peterson from Husker Online. It's Talk Nebraska Football with each one of you. I've been telling you for weeks and months, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications to know when we go live, because you can blame me. We've had to move off of our Tuesday night for a few weeks now with the college football playoff rankings coming out on Tuesday night. So we find a home each and every week, and this week, it's Wednesday morning with all of you at 10:30 Central Time. So stay tuned for next week's time slot. But here we go with Huskers Talk for the next hour with all of you, with Wisconsin on deck this Saturday. Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Hey, Mark, hanging in there, surviving.
Good.
2 weeks left.
Yeah, we'll get to the ball game here in a second. Yeah, 2 weeks left, two tough opponents. And we will go from there, coming off a bye week. So first and foremost, obviously, was the Scott Frost contract restructuring and the 4 new assistants. It's 4, correct, on the offensive side. Yep.
Yeah, there were 4 were let go. So, yep, they'll be starting, the hiring process as soon as they possibly can. I mean, with everybody still in action here for at least 2 more weeks and a bowl game, and kind of makes your timetable work at other people's pace right now. But you're looking to fill 4 spots right now. Matt Lubick, offensive coordinator, was let go, and running backs coach Ryan Held was let go, and offensive line coach, run game coordinator Greg Austin was let go. So those were pretty big blows right there. It's kind of hard for the team. Hard for those guys to. I forgot to mention quarterbacks coach Mario Verduzco as well was let go. But yeah, it made it really rough on those guys in those rooms. Obviously, all of a sudden they don't have their coaches here, the guys that recruited them and that have been father figures to them for their time here in Lincoln. So, yeah, as you can imagine, it was a pretty tough pill for those guys to swallow. But it looks like they're focused, they're locked in, and they're ready for Wisconsin. Just like they've been saying all year, when you deal with injuries, next man up mentality. So right now Nebraska's filling some holes right now with some other guys that have been on staff for a while. Running backs coach is now Ron Brown for the remainder of the season, who, most Husker fans will know Ron Brown's been around the program for many, many years and once was the running backs coach here under Coach Osborne. So he's been doing a great job filling in. And, obviously he's what I've heard from the players is that it's kind of refreshing that Coach Brown is more of a, he's wanting to teach more of the finer points of the running back position, more fundamentals than Coach Held kind of was more of a system kind of a guy. So it's kind of interesting to hear changes right now. And then Frank Verducci's taken over the offensive line duties, and he's another guy that's been around the game for a long, long time, and has a famous last name there. His brother's a big time writer, a journalist, and he's many like I said, many years in the game, and he's been working with the offensive line all along anyway. So it's not really anything new there for those guys. So and then. Coach Cooper is kind of elevated to the quarterbacks coach for right now. So you're seeing some familiarity still going on, but the biggest shakeup probably will be with Coach Frost for the last 2 weeks, especially on Saturdays. It's going to be interesting, without some of his eyes and ears that he's used to having up top, are not going to be there now. And then I think also Coach Greg Austin had a lot to do with on the sidelines, talking to the guys during the game and everything and relaying any kind of messages. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how those dynamics kind of work out, and to see if that affects Nebraska, with their offensive rhythm or anything like that. But the good news is the defense is still completely intact. Short JoJo Doman, unfortunately, but defense will be coming to play. So we'll see what happens on Saturday.
And so the quick note on Doman, since you mentioned that, his Husker career over, correct? Yeah. All right.
He had surgery on his hand right after the Ohio State game. So yeah, unfortunately he probably shouldn't have played against Ohio State. It was already injured, and he's got to think about his future because he's carved himself out a nice looking future in the NFL here coming up next year.
Yeah, and played well in that game against Ohio State.
He's played well all year. I mean, I think he's increased his draft stock tremendously over the course of this season. And, that's one of those perks of getting that COVID year. These super seniors get another chance to come back. So he made the best of it. So, yeah, kudos to JoJo.
Folks, bring the comments and questions here. Got Greg here, as always, for our 43rd edition with all of you. For Huskers Live here at the Voice of College Football. Please subscribe if you haven't already. All right. So
another side note on JoJo as well. If people are going to be wondering, Isaac Gifford will be running in JoJo's spot here on Saturday against Wisconsin, and Husker fans know well the Gifford name. His brother Luke plays in the NFL right now, so. I think Nebraska's in good shape. Isaac's a freshman, a second-year freshman, and played right here at Lincoln Southeast High School in Lincoln. So, a lot of Husker roots there, and he's excited and is up for the challenge, and he's ready to fill JoJo's shoes.
So, since he was close by in high school, I assume that you scouted him and
were
very familiar with
him.
His
whole high school career. Yes. Yep.
How much playing time is I don't think we've talked about him. I don't remember us bringing up his name on this show.
He's because he's been backing up JoJo Doman. He's been that backup nickel spot guy, and he's been a great special teams player all year and has made an impact on special teams. So just hasn't had been able to get in the limelight when you're playing behind a guy like JoJo Doman.
Absolutely,
he's capable. He's very capable, and same kind of player as JoJo. Really, a lot of similarities there. So same size type of a guy, and he's always got his brother to lean on with some advice, which we talked with him yesterday, and he said that he had been talking to Luke and getting some pointers on how to play against that Wisconsin offensive line.
Yeah, they've got it in gear. We'll get to the Badgers here in just a second. With the coaching roles, I started out the conversation by saying 4 new coaches. Obviously, there are not 4 new coaches. They still have to make those hires. To be more clear, as Greg stated, yes, 4 offensive assistants let go, other people reassigned to fill those roles, as Greg outlined. And yeah, there's got to be some concern that regardless of how long they've been on staff in other roles, just as you mentioned, the flow of communication, the working relationships, and all of that, especially on game day, is going to be a challenge, but it's been done before. And maybe in some odd way, it rejuvenates the people and gives a different perspective on things. And maybe they come out firing.
Absolutely. You never know. They definitely, they've got something to prove. They got a chip on their shoulder, and, what better way to, make you feel a little bit better after a very disappointing year to go out and win your last 2 games against 2 opponents that you frankly haven't had much luck against for quite some time.
Yeah, Wisconsin is on a pretty good roll. I don't know if you have any thoughts as Alan is chiming in right here. Good to see Alan. Thank you so much for encouraging everyone to hit that thumbs up. But in regards to any candidates for any of these roles, but especially offensive coordinator would be the one, obviously, that's in charge.
Yeah, right now, like we kind of mentioned, it's too early to say. You can't just go in and start talking to guys when they're still working right now for another program or in the NFL right now. So it'll be interesting. I mean, Coach Frost kind of touched on it a little bit that, obviously it's going to have to be somebody that he trusts, but, I think that with change being made, he's going to need to bring somebody in there that is experienced at that job and can do that job without Scott Frost having to micromanage, kind of like what he has been doing. Coach Frost needs to be more of a CEO. That's the bottom line. And you got to kind of have these things mesh. So it all starts with that offensive coordinator, because you have to imagine that your offensive coordinator is going to want to have some say in those assistant coaches that are working under him as well. So I think it's kind of stupid to even think about hiring the other positions before you hire an offensive coordinator. So I think that's kind of where we're at right now, in a holding pattern until Coach Frost can start interviewing candidates for that offensive coordinator spot.
Got Greg Peterson, as we always do each and every week. Husker Online, join him right there on Husker Online, also right here on YouTube. Husker Online video. Husker Online, just put it right there in the search bar and follow all the news conferences and practice footage and basketball starting up as well.
See those Husker fans all over the world. They're all over the globe.
There they are.
Reaching Poland.
I have no idea what time it is there.
Probably in the middle of the night, I'm going to imagine.
Yes, I would think so. Yes. Well, a question was posed concerning the situation that hits these kind of teams that are out of any kind of championship race at this point in the season with 2 games left, where there are sometimes decisions to be made about playing time and preparing for 2022 and getting valuable reps for guys that are coming up through the system. So has that been talked about publicly, or is there any speculation about who may get more reps and who may get less time?
Not a whole lot. I mean, shakeups right now, the big shakeup, if you're going to talk about reps and playing time, is at the running back spot. Savion Morrison just entered the transfer portal. So Nebraska's short of one running back going into the weekend. And Coach Frost said that there's reps to be taken Saturday. And he said guys like Marquis Stepp and Gabe Urban, or not Gabe Urban, but you get my drift here. There's more carries to be made or to be taken here with the loss of Savion Morrison, and that's unfortunate because he was a talented young man, and obviously it comes down to playing time, and you're going to see more names go into the portal, and this is how college football is now. It's not just a Nebraska problem and a problem because you just got rid of 4 coaches. It's going to happen. Nebraska, they'll bring in plenty of guys from the transfer portal, as many as they lose. So, I mean, that's just the start of that. So, other than that, I think you just see kind of business as usual. On the injury front as well, Deontay Williams at safety has been injured. He's back at practice and is in line to play on Saturday if all goes well. And freshman tight end Thomas Fidone is a full go as well. So maybe expect to see him get some reps that he hasn't got into a game yet this year. He's been injured most of the year. So maybe you see a couple of packages with Fidone to see what he can do going into next year as well. So, kind of Nebraska getting healthier a little bit. If you can get healthy at this time of the year, with that one big blow with losing JoJo Nobin and heart and soul of your defense, we'll see how those guys rally around it. But I expect you to see pretty much the same type of, rotation of what you've seen all year on both sides of the ball.
Folks are going to be excited to see Fidone in the ball game, and as you mentioned, in various packages, and see if he gets maybe a few targets and see what he can do, because obviously his signing caused a lot of excitement. As for Savion Morrison, 30 carries for $116 on the ground, 3.9 per carry, 3 touchdowns. And Ramir Johnson, Jaquez Yant, Marquise Stepp, Gabe Irvin. When you look at that running back room, did this pretty much play out the way you expected in regards to carries? Because Ramir Johnson really established himself down the stretch and took hold of the role after it was just kind of hanging in the balance for a number of weeks early.
Yeah, no, I I was a little bit surprised that Ramir he grabbed that and ran with it. Once he got the job, and I really thought we'd see a lot more of Marquise Stepp, the transfer from USC. So he's been kind of missing. And then you got flashes of Jaquez, and you kind of want to see him carry the ball more. There's been a few surprises, and I thought you would have seen a lot more Gabe Urban, to tell you the truth, because he looked pretty good last year. So it's been kind of a strange room to kind of read all year long, and I don't know. We'll see if there's a difference now since Coach Held's no longer in charge of those guys, and maybe we'll see some differences here with Ron Brown calling the shots, and maybe you do see some of these other guys get some more opportunities. And with Savion Morrison, just a few weeks ago, he'd been talking and with the media, and had said how patient he had to be, had to learn how to be patient, to get that playing time. And but frankly, they didn't even suit him up for the Ohio State game, and he hasn't played since the Michigan State game, I believe. And so it's hard to say, because they say that job has been open, every week of the season. That job is wide open, and whoever practices the best is supposed to be getting the playing time. So we'll see if that changes a little bit, and we just see more of a rotation, and trying to find like the hot guy. That could be a possibility that we see on Saturday, because frankly, they're going to need to run the ball against Wisconsin. I mean, this is you know how Wisconsin plays. This is a game of real estate. You want to keep the ball as long as you possibly can, and win that position battle game, and grind it out. Probably not going to be a very high scoring game, and the problem with Nebraska is that they have not shown that type of patience to stick with the running game. I think Husker fans are just clamoring to see maybe Nebraska just try to dedicate 60% of the offense to the run game, and see what they can do. But Coach Frost doesn't seem like he's very patient to do that, and just wants to run that wide open, high flying offense. That they put up numbers, but they haven't produced wins doing that.
If Nebraska is able to run the ball against Wisconsin, they would be the first team this year. Michigan moved it a little bit. I would have to check the numbers. I watched that game. They were the only ones that could reasonably move the ball. Even the Notre Dame game, if you look at the final score, it is so deceiving, 42-13. Notre Dame had 2 pick sixes in the last 3 minutes of that game, and it just kind of broke loose, and it had nothing to do with the Wisconsin defense. That was a 13-10 game midway through the fourth quarter. So Wisconsin's giving up 63 yards per game. That's number 1 in America, 63 rushing yards per game. They're number 1 or 2 across the board with Georgia in everything, points against, yards against, all of it. They are just just suffocating everybody week after week after week after week. And I got to think that Michigan offense would be the best that they faced.
Probably.
Yeah. But my goodness, Purdue's got a good offense. They didn't do anything against Wisconsin. They scored 13 points. Shut
down David Bell. I mean, basically just pushed David Bell into the ground. Yeah. I mean, what a physical defense it is. And Nebraska's got to be ready. And we talked to Samari Torre yesterday about that exact thing, and he knows that those corners are going to have their hands all over them, and you're not going to get a clean break off the line, and you just got to be prepared to play the most physical game of your life. So
Yeah.
Wisconsin's a scary good defense.
Yeah. They played Penn State week 1 right out of the gate, and both of those two teams it was a physical, hard-hitting game, and those two defenses went after it. And then they, of course, lost the 3 games early and then righted the ship. And what I think they did was basically say, okay, Graham Mertz, you're going to throw the ball like 7 or 8 times a game, and we are just going to like bully people up front and get back to Wisconsin football. But since they got on this roll, now the last few weeks, he's become more comfortable, and the run game's been so dominant that they've started to open it up. And now the last few weeks, it's been more like 20, 23 pass attempts and getting the ball downfield a little bit. And then it's like, really look out. I think they'll be in the Big Ten championship game. They hold the division under control. They control their own destiny. So they've got, of course, Nebraska this week. They've got Minnesota the final week of the season, which is not going to be an easy assignment by any stretch. But they do own the division.
Yep.
So I actually, for people that love this kind of stuff, I went through.
Oh wow, turkey! 7.
Yeah. I was going to point this out. So I believe England's about 5 hours ahead of us, so it would be about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So they're in Turkey. Yeah, it kind of goes the other way. Instead of them being last night or that far ahead, it's evening time for the folks in Turkey, mid-afternoon, late afternoon for our friends in England and over there in Europe, most of them.
See, we're doing this in the morning so that they can all stay up and see us over here across the pond. So
yeah, it regardless of the time, it works out for somebody out there. So I went through about 5 divisions across college football that have very convoluted championship scenarios, and I went through the Big Ten West. So I'm going to post a video here if people that are interested in that sort of thing, like what are the different scenarios. But it's very easy for Wisconsin. If they win out, they win, and they're in the Big Ten championship game. It's much more difficult for Iowa, Minnesota, and Purdue, but I've figured out those scenarios.
They need help.
They need some help.
Yeah.
Purdue needs some very specific help.
Everybody rooting for Nebraska on Saturday.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody is. Purdue's they got to thread a needle here. They need to win out. They need Wisconsin to lose 2 games. They need Iowa to lose at least 1 game. And they need Minnesota to lose. But since Minnesota needs to beat Wisconsin, they have to have Minnesota lose to Indiana. That's what they need.
Okay.
All right. We got a little GBR coming in from a Sawar from Oklahoma. All right.
GBR.
We are less than a month from National Signing Day on December 15th. And you think...
I do hope, though, if you're a proud Husker fan in Oklahoma, I do hope you're flying that Husker flag proudly on game days, which I'm sure you do.
Absolutely. So with National Signing Day less than a month away, you've stated you pretty much feel like this Nebraska class is locked and loaded. There's not going to be much drama, not many more guys to go after.
Yeah, right now it's pretty tough to say. At least you haven't lost anybody yet since these coaching changes have happened, but it's kind of hard to kind of decide. The one thing I think Ashton Hayes, the running back commit from Reno, is still solid with Nebraska. He's an early enrollee, so he's kind of locked in. It's kind of hard to change. When you're about ready to graduate your high school here in a month, and you're already set to go to college in January, so it's kind of hard to change your mind at that last minute. But Another big thing is Barrett Rude, Coach Rude he talked to us yesterday a little bit about his big thing is been what he's been reassuring all the in-state recruits that they're very coveted and very important to the program. Just making sure that all the in-state guys are still firmly on board, which they are. So yeah, you did have it. You had a new commitment a week ago after the Ohio State game. So you never know. I mean, you got a month until signing day, and you have spots available. You're going to go heavy, kind of the transfer portal, the JUCO route to try to bring in some experience. But you do still have a few slots there, and I wouldn't put it past to see maybe a commit or two here before signing day, just to kind of see who's out there and who's still interested. Obviously, the defense is going to be sound on that side of the ball. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of commits before signing day. We just don't know who right now. That's the key.
As Kyle mentions here, the NCAA is allowing teams to sign 7 extra players this year. We've talked about that. So theoretically, a class of 32, although the math isn't that clean. Are they really wanting a small class, or are they having difficulties recruiting? Seems like a cover-up to Kyle.
No, there's too many guys on the roster right now. That's the reason for the small class, because you've got all these super seniors and guys that have gained an extra year. So there's too many bodies right now to have that size of a recruiting class. So they will use every single spot that they can get before it's all said and done, because there is, remember that this does go on until February too. There is a second Sunday. So I expect Nebraska to not just go crazy and try to fill spots just to fill spots, because you got you're gonna have 4 new coaches coming in, and those guys know the kind of players that they like to recruit, and you're kind of starting over at this point. Not quite to the effect of a whole new coaching staff across the board, but you are looking at a whole new offensive side. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get those proper pieces, in, and you don't want to just fill spots just to put bodies in there, because that just doesn't help out anybody. You have to have the right guy to fit your culture. You're not going to bring guys in and see them leave in a year. That's not the goal. So it's all about patience right now. It really is.
Folks, we talk Nebraska football each and every week with Greg Peterson from Husker Online. That's what we do for an hour, typically on Tuesdays. We've had to move it around, so we appreciate your flexibility. We've got some new people in here. That's good to see. Subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications to know when we go live, because it'll probably be a different time next week. We shall see. And then we'll get all set up with a specific time here in a few weeks again, after the college football playoff circus gets sorted out.
I thought we were going to go all day long on Thanksgiving.
All day long on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, what else do we have to do?
Hey, I did 24 hours before. I cheated a few hours here and there, but we did 24 straight hours. I did about 18 or 19. That was a good time. Wink, wink. Jim Thomas. Now, I did not see Scott Frost's news conference, as I typically do on the Big Ten Network every Monday. I did not watch this week's, but
you watched it on the Big Ten Network and not on Husker Online?
Oh, I can see it on Husker. I should watch it on Husker Online. Can I see it live on Husker Online? Well, they don't show it live on the Big Ten Network. You
cannot see it live. We're not allowed to run it live.
When is it posted on Husker Online? I'll give my allegiance to Husker Online then, going forward.
About 5 minutes after it finishes.
Okay, well, that's good enough for me. I'm not that much of a stickler, and I'm usually sitting here recording, but I'll usually roll on the Big Ten Network as they show all the coaches' news conferences on Monday. But I'll have to.
As soon as I can pull the card out of my camera and download it onto the computer and upload it into YouTube, that's how long it takes.
There you go, everyone. Everyone that's listening, which is about 40, 50 people right now, but it's going to be a few thousand by the time we post this. Get your news conferences from Husker Online. There you go. Do that. Make that your destination for all the Nebraska news conferences, football, basketball.
No, we don't want to bring up basketball right now.
Basketball off to a bad start?
Just lost for the 10th time to Creighton in the last 11 years last night. So, yeah.
Well, they've had a pretty good basketball program.
Yeah, they have. It seems to be the same old story. Can't beat Creighton, can't beat Iowa in football. Just keeps on going.
Yeah, so as I was starting to mention about the news conference, Scott Frost apparently said that the offense was going to slow down these last 2 weeks.
I don't think you have any choice but to slow it down because we kind of talked about the communication issues that you're going to come across. So, yeah, I think you slow things down. And quite frankly, you need to slow things down, especially when you're playing against Wisconsin, because you don't want to give them the ball right back. You go 3 and out, you're playing right into Wisconsin's hands. So, yeah, you got to slow it down. And, if you look ahead to Iowa, I think, offensively, I think there's some things that they can do against Iowa. But this week, obviously, I think you have to slow it down and just try to grind it out and shorten this game up and try to keep this score below the 20s. I think it's the only way that you're going to be able to beat Wisconsin.
Ross Peterson's going way ahead on this one to the 2024 class. Dylan Raiola, quarterback out of Burleson, Texas, who's got 15 offers right now and wants to know.
More like about 50 offers right now.
50, yeah.
Everybody, I mean, every blue blood of college football has offered Dylan Raiola. He is the top quarterback in his class coming out. What a talented young man. Obviously, huge ties to the Nebraska program with his dad starring here. But yeah, you saw him here over the summer. He came and threw in front of Coach Frost, and you could see the relationship built there already. And if Nebraska was not a 3-7 team right now, I would say Nebraska is in the driver's seat to land it. But he's not going to come to a program that wins 4 games a year. I guarantee you that right now. Not when Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State and Oklahoma, everybody under the sun that you can think of wants you to come and play there and come and play for a national championship. That's hard to beat. That really is. But it'll be interesting to watch his recruitment over the next couple of years. And, Nebraska has time to turn it around. And just because, like I said, with the family ties to the program and stuff, I never would say Nebraska is out of it at any time in his recruitment until he signs his name on that dotted line.
So he is near the end of his sophomore season in high school, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's already proven.
He's got the biggest arm I have ever seen, for a young man that age. I mean,
wow.
He has just got a cannon, and he throws just the most beautiful deep ball you would ever see.
Asawar, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, but just wanted to take note of this since we had a back and forth with you down there in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
So, yeah, he's got his Husker gear on proudly. His wife went to OU. We have twin boys, so I was thinking of having one wear the Husker shirt and the other one the OU shirt. Now, I'm not going to ask if you've got any child favorites, if that's going to play into that or not, but okay.
I hope you should. I hope you come to the game here next year when Oklahoma comes to Lincoln and bring your boys and have them each wear one of the team shirts. I think that'd be great.
Evan is asking about Nebraska transitioning to a triple option offense. I can't imagine anyone doing that in this day and age, especially one that wants to vie for top recruits in a conference like the Big Ten.
Yeah, that would be a death sentence right there. Sorry, it would work. I mean, I think it would work. Yes, but you're not going to recruit the kind of guys that you need to recruit to run in that type of an offense.
Alex
I would love
here.
to see it. I would love to see it. I would love to see it just for a game. Just dedicate it to the triple option for one game. That'd be cool.
Well, yeah, everyone, I say everyone, most people seem to want to see the ball in the air 50 times. I like to see the ball in the air 50 times if there are other teams that are running the ball 90% of I like to see variety. I don't like to turn on college football games and see everybody running the same kind of offense over and over and over and over.
I don't want to see the ball in the air 50 times if this team is down by 30 points and all they're doing is throwing the ball every time. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I like to see different styles of offense and defense, but especially offense. And now that the pro style offense is pretty much out of the game, so it's basically out of the pro game as well.
Yeah.
I love to see Wisconsin, Illinois. I saw somebody else running a lot of snaps under center in the last couple of weeks besides those two. But anyway, I like to see a quarterback taking snaps under center.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aside from a goal line situation. And those are the two teams that seem to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I get surprised. I mean, I see a lot of football, and I get really surprised when I'm doing a high school game, and on a Thursday or a Friday night, and all of a sudden the quarterback's up there under center. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? You just don't used to see it very often anymore. It's kind of bizarre, and but I'm with you. I like seeing it both ways. I like it.
And sometimes you'll be watching an NFL game now, and the quarterback's got to get under center, and maybe there's an issue, or there'll be a comment made by one of the announcers or the analysts that he didn't have to do this in college.
Yeah,
he went through the entire college career, never did this. Now he's got to do it in the NFL.
Yeah. So then you look at the other side. Look at a guy like Peyton Manning. When did Peyton Manning ever not be under center? So
yeah, obviously he grew up with a traditional offense, and then when I was growing up, and I got to put you in the same bucket, in the NFL there was only one team that ran a spread formation, and they called it the shotgun, and that was the Dallas Cowboys. They were innovative because they went to a shotgun on third down, and it was like, this is really weird, this is different. But Tom Landry's strategy was that the quarterback could get his eyes downfield on the defense and just already have his drop back, that he wouldn't have to be backpedaling. And so they were it took years and years and years before everybody else started doing that.
And then they had that line, their offensive line, do their bob up and down too.
Yeah. and the strategy there was that the offensive line would stand up, and then the backs would shift, and they would come back down. So the defense would have to relocate where the backs and the wide receivers were.
Yeah, innovative stuff back then.
Yeah, he was. Tom Landry was way ahead of his time. He basically was smart enough to look at the rules and say, "Oh, we could do this or we could do that. Nobody's doing this. We can shift players around and put people in motion, and we can do all this stuff. And the rules don't say we can't." Samori Toure, 33 catches for 718. That's a lot of yards per reception at 22. Well, he caught those two long ones against the Buckeyes, 22 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns. So is there any concern that he's off to the NFL after this year?
Yeah, he's a senior. He's done. Yeah.
Oh, he is done for sure. He can't take it. So that was his extra year.
Yeah. Okay. This was he was a 5th-year senior transfer from Montana. So he already graduated, and this was his bonus. Worked on my NFL draft status here, and I think he did a pretty good job of that. So he's a heck of a player, and he will be missed. He's been a big part of that receiving corps just for the 1 year that he's been here, and has been a great teacher as well to the younger guys. So we're gonna miss Samari. Wish he would have been here a little longer, that's for sure. But you'll be seeing him playing on Sundays next year.
Another recruiting question from Kyle. He really wants Nebraska to get down to Texas. Obviously, that's got to be a destination.
Yeah, you never not recruit the state of Texas. I mean, that's just stupid. Yeah, Nebraska's always had success in the state of Texas. And we've touched on it before that it's harder to recruit there now when you're not in the Big 12 because a lot of those Texas guys that would come here, they came here because they would still get to go play back home every year and play against guys that they know that they grew up with and stuff year in and year out. So it takes a little bit of it away, but still there's plenty of guys come out of the state of Texas, and you know what if you're not going to play for Texas or Texas A&M or TCU or any of those programs, um, you know any Power 5 school is a good destination for a kid from Texas. So yeah, Texas is always a big priority state, and we'll see with what kind of fresh blood that Nebraska brings in on the coaching side, and obviously Ryan Held was the Texas was his recruiting state, one of his states that he handled, and so Nebraska's going to have to assign a new person to the state of Texas, and you always hope to you always want to bring some guys in from Texas every year in your recruiting class if you can.
2:30 Central Time is kickoff at Camp Randall Stadium in Wisconsin. Game's going to be on ABC. And Wisconsin gunning for a Western Division championship. They are 7-3. Therefore, they are 5-2 in the Big Ten. Yes, 5-2 in the Big Ten, but they have certainly beaten the right teams and lost to the right teams, meaning out of division, to set themselves up in a great shape.
I mean, when you lose to Penn State and Notre Dame and Michigan, those are three pretty good teams that you have your losses against. So.
Yeah, and also from the standpoint of losing the non-division games, losing to Penn State and Michigan. So
it doesn't hurt you that badly.
Braylon Allen is the latest for Wisconsin.
Impressive young man, boy. He's 17 years old. If people have not seen him play yet, he's a grown ass man. I mean, he looks like he should be graduating and being in the NFL next year for a 17-year-old freshman. My goodness, he is a beast. And shocking that he plays at Wisconsin, right? Joins that long line of running back tradition coming out from Madison. My goodness, he's going to be a handful.
So Ches Malusi was the guy that took charge of the running back position out of August camp, and he was doing a decent job, but he got hurt, and then Allen was already emerging as taking some carries away, but here in the last, Malusi got hurt, and now it's Allen's deal.
6 games in a row over 100 yards for Allen.
Yeah. 7.1 yards per carry.
Pretty good. You win a lot of ball games doing that. I've learned that over the years, at least. He's Big Ten player or offensive player of the week as well. So
yeah, I didn't realize. I knew he was in his freshman year, and 17 or 18. It's still impressive.
Right. He should be getting ready to graduate high school right now. So
yeah, so that's going to be a tall order against Braylon Allen. And again, Wisconsin's throwing the ball a little bit better with Graham Mertz here in recent weeks. And when you run the ball like that, it opens up the passing game. And that's what it's been for Wisconsin, and arguably the best defense in college football. It's a tall order because of the way they play, though. And they have had a couple consecutive blowouts. So they're starting to really mash some teams. But the spread's not anything ridiculous. And that obviously is a testament to Nebraska's quality, especially on defense, that it's around 9 points.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good spread. Yeah. I mean, I could see that. I could see Nebraska covering that spread. Obviously, I could see that happening. So I think it's right on the ball. I mean, Nebraska's proven that they're not just going to roll over. But again, there's been some shakeups. So it's kind of a mystery what we're going to see on Saturday. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah, this team in its last 5 Big Ten games, they beat Illinois 24-0. Shutout, 500 yards total offense, less than 100 for Illinois. Outgained them 5-1. Purdue 30-13. Braylon Allen had 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 12 carries. Again, 30-13 against that offense. Beat Iowa 27-7. Suffocated them. Iowa had 17 yards at halftime. Then Rutgers 52-3, and Rutgers is not one of the better teams in the league. We all know that, but they're not bad. They beat Illinois.
They can put points on the board.
And they just beat who they beat last weekend?
They blew somebody out last weekend.
Indiana.
They put 50 something on Indiana.
38-3 on Indiana. Yeah, they killed Indiana by 5 touchdowns, and they've beaten Illinois. So, and we know Illinois beaten Penn State, Minnesota, and Nebraska. So Rutgers is not a bad football team. Wisconsin beat them 52-3 2 weeks ago, and then Northwestern 35-7. I think they just went through the motions there. My goodness, they're better than their record.
Yeah,
no doubt about that. They have found it here in October and November.
Absolutely.
So it should be a heck of a game.
Yeah, if you like that, if you like old school, grinded out defense. Physical, beat you up and down. Yeah, this is what I'm expecting.
It should be a heck of a game also because Nebraska is not bowing to anyone.
Yeah.
They had Ohio State. The Buckeyes didn't wrap it up until 90 seconds left in the game.
Absolutely.
So it should be a good one. And this is one of those situations where not that Wisconsin's going to play tight. They're a veteran team. They're used to vying for championships, but still, they have everything on the line. Nebraska can play carefree. Just let it go.
Absolutely. And, you don't want, if you're Wisconsin, you don't want to be looking ahead to next week, overlooking Nebraska.
No.
Nebraska's proven that they can come up and bite you in the butt. So, it'll be interesting. Absolutely.
Yes, big games across the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan State. That's a huge one. And, of course, this Wisconsin team vying for a title. Iowa just beat Minnesota. That was a big game in keeping their hopes alive. And, we only have 2 weeks left to play, and then the Big Ten championship game.
And one other thing to think about, too, is, these last 2 games for Nebraska are both trophy games. And these guys haven't not been able to go run across the field and snatch that trophy away from either one of these 2 teams in quite some time. And that's something that the players have been talking about. That would be pretty cool to be able to go grab that trophy and bring it back to Lincoln. So, little extra incentive right there.
Folks, it's Christmas time. You're shopping, and most likely you're shopping on Amazon. Please use the link that we provide in the description section below. It helps us build the channel. Grab that link. It's the same shopping experience. Doesn't cost you a penny, so you might as well do that. And we're here every week with Greg Peterson, Husker Online, breaking down Nebraska football. And we also have post-game here at the Voice of College Football. So Nebraska-Wisconsin post-game right directly after the game right here. So join us for that as well. All right, sir. Anything else we need to hit on?
Well, there's always stuff that we could have hit on and that we missed. That's for sure.
That's why everybody needs to be back here next week.
Absolutely. But, winding it down, next week's going to be interesting with, Monday is the Nebraska High School championships. So that's going on here at Memorial Stadium on Monday and Tuesday. And obviously, you got a short week and playing Iowa on Black Friday. So, yeah, kind of a whirlwind here, final 2 weeks of the season with a lot going on. And then when that wraps up, I guess that's when all the questions start to get answered. Maybe the start of that, at least. So, yeah, lots of things going on around here. Lots of moving parts right now.
Oh, I was talking to my family about my December just a couple of days ago because, yeah, if you follow college football and have to cover college football, yeah, it cuts loose. You got recruiting with National Signing Day coming to a head mid-December. You've got conference championship games and the playoff selections and the bowl selections. And like you say, Black Sunday after the regular season's over, we're going to see 7, 8, 9 coaches get fired. We already know that there are huge openings out there, and then that creates the domino effect. It's not just 7 or 8 spots, it becomes about 20 or 25 or 30 spots.
Yeah, you know what, too? That was a thought that I'd even had that, Nebraska might be, things might look bad right here, but right now, but there's some other big time programs that might be in worse shape than Nebraska is right now. I mean, look, there's five big time jobs open right now in Power 5 programs. I don't want to upset Texas fans, but what's going on in Texas? That's what I want to know. Yeah, there's just Florida. What about Florida? Yeah, there's just weird things happening in college football, and hopefully these programs bounce back because they're all, when they're good, it's better for the game. All these programs that are struggling. USC, another one. So
yeah.
Washington State. I mean, name it. There's a lot of Power 5 jobs, a lot of openings that are happening. And we're going to see
TCU, Texas Tech.
Another one. Yeah. So crazy.
It is crazy. And as we've seen with Texas and Florida, it can happen fast. Yeah. Like they looked like really good teams just 4 or 5 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. 4 or 5 weeks ago, Florida was taking Alabama to a 2-point conversion at the end of the game and looked like one of the 10 best teams in America. And here we are weeks later. They can't beat South Carolina. They lose by 3 scores, and they almost lose to Samford.
Yeah.
Texas,
not Stanford, Samford.
Yes, and Texas goes from 4-1, leading Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns, and they look like a top 10 or 15 team to losing to Kansas 4 or 5 weeks later, and now they can't beat anybody.
It's just so strange.
We were looking at Texas the other day, realizing that Kansas has basically not been able to score more than a touchdown against anybody in the Big 12. They basically lose like 50-7 every week, and then all of a sudden, they're blowing the doors off Texas.
Yeah. Crazy. I heard a question the other day. Somebody had brought up, how many years would it take Nick Saban to go to any Power 5 school and get them in a national title game? And somebody brought up Kansas to that, and that was the one exception. Like, well, maybe not Kansas.
I've always said that would be a phenomenal, intriguing experiment. You take somebody like Nick Saban, Urban Meyer when he was at the college level, a guy those are the only 2 that I can think of that have gone anywhere and immediately won. Even Dabo Swinney's obviously only done it at Clemson. Those 2 guys have proven wherever they go, they're going to win. Just, it would be fascinating to take them and put them at Oregon State, Kansas, Rutgers, somewhere like that, and see how much of a difference they could make in one season.
Absolutely.
It would be fascinating. But ain't going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen, unfortunately.
All right, Greg, it's always a good time.
Thank God for Kansas that it's basketball season, right?
Yep. Well, Greg, it's always a good time. Enjoy the game this weekend, and we'll be back here next week.
Absolutely. Thank you.